right. So this one's a little different. We got somebody younger and both younger in age and younger in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely making a big splash already.
Yeah.
Doing some bigger stuff that even I don't like to do.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So I'm excited for this one. What are we on? Season 2, episode 4? Maybe? Episode 5, I think? 4 or 5? I don't know. We'll wing it, I guess.
Yep.
But it's Polisher's Corner. And why don't you introduce yourself? Where you're from?
Yeah. I'm Blake Wood. I own Woody's Metal Polishing and Detailing just outside of Tawnytown, Arkansas. And I kind of do a mix of everything, dump trucks, just regular work trucks. And sometimes I'll do Airstreams, which Evan hates.
You are not wrong on that.
Yeah.
Airstreams are something I am over. I've had my fair share.
Mm-hmm.
I've officially done 30 of them over all the years that I've been polishing. Yeah. And I don't care to ever do another one.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've said this in just about every podcast now, but
Yeah.
I'm over them. Watching you do them wears me out.
Mm-hmm. You're finally that person that does them. Like, you're an idiot.
So, with the saying that you've been polishing Airstreams, how long have you been doing this?
Been doing it for almost 2 years in January coming up.
So not quite 2 years.
No.
Only like a year and 3/4?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something big to just jump into. And that's one thing I've been waiting to talk to people about for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Is a lot of young, inexperienced polishers, not even young polishers, but inexperienced polishers want to jump into big jobs right away.
Yeah.
They want to do an Airstream. They want to do a tanker trailer. They want to do a dump trailer. They want to do just a lot of big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to get people to shy away from it.
I have been asked to do a set of, I think the guy had an aluminum flatbed trailer. And he's like, yeah, man, I want you to polish the rails and polish the sides of the bed and the back. And I was like, man, I'm like 6 months in. I was like, that's not a job for me. You can, I gave him actually your number. I was like, go see Evan. He'll definitely get you in.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But I tell a lot of people to shy away from that stuff because
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a lot of young businesses kill themselves off
Mm-hmm.
by saying, yeah, I can do it, and not having enough knowledge or know-how to get it done. And when things go wrong, they can't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And now not only have you lost a customer because you told them you could
Mm-hmm.
and you can't,
Yeah.
or you could and you haven't. And that wasn't the case with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
No,
I don't want to say
I
don't want to say you got lucky
Yeah.
with the Airstreams, but you found a really good pattern.
Yes.
And
it took me a while. The first one I ever did, I had so many lines, and I had to go back and rewatch your videos a lot on just doing tanks and keeping your lines really tight because I wasn't keeping my lines tight at all when I was doing the Airstreams. And like when you look at just a certain angle, you can just see every single line in your cut, and then it'll really show in your color. And then here recently, I've got a 31-foot one I'm doing right now. And I was using really short buffs, and it took me forever to get a good overlap. And I was like, you know what, just try a brand new buff. I didn't want to use a brand new one, but I was like, whatever. And like, it was so much quicker, and it had such a tighter pattern. It helped a lot.
And that's the thing is a lot of people want to run their buff all the way till it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times on big stuff like Airstreams, once your pad gets halfway, chuck it and save it for another day, grab another brand new one and start fresh again because once that diameter gets smaller, your pattern has to get tighter along with it, and your speed increases. So now you're going to end up in a difference in surface feet between a 9-inch buff and by the time it gets down to an 8-inch buff, or if you start at a 10 and when it gets down to a 9, that difference in surface feet will change the overlap, and eventually your body gets used to that same overlap to the point of now that the buff's smaller and you're not following a tighter overlap compared to when it was bigger, people don't compensate for that. Muscle memory, right? You work on something that big for that long, you overlap, you get used to your overlap, let's just say 1/2 inch. And then by the time it gets down to a 9-inch, it's down to a 1/4 inch. By the time it gets down to an 8 inch, you're down to an 1/8 of an inch. it's like that's super tight overlap, and people don't compensate, especially when you've been doing half-inch overlap for 6 hours.
Yes, Jesus, yeah. Oh man, yeah. I wish somebody would come out with like a plexiglass that you can tint, because once you do a roof of an Airstreams, I always start top to bottom.
I noticed that.
Yeah, just so my cord doesn't slap.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Especially my final polish. I had one of my buddies that he works with me. He was doing the final polish with Cyclo, and bam, that cord just hits the side that he's already done. It just leaves a streak in there, and I had to go back and recut it or recolor it, and it went away. And I was like, I understand why now. The guy that I polished the Airstreams for says start top to bottom.
Yeah,
you don't get that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But tinted lenses, I bet you could. I know this sounds stupid, but those taillight tint.
Yeah.
You could probably spray one real light just to get some coating on it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a tinted respirator lens somewhere.
There might be. I've asked a couple of the guys around me that tint, and they're like, well, you can, but it's really not going to work that well. It's going to come off. Just because it doesn't stick well to plexiglass, I guess.
Yeah, but those shields, you could pull the plastic off the outside and tint the inside.
I didn't think about that, taking it all the way apart. I just thought, it's already put together like that.
Have you ever seen one that's completely pulled apart?
I've never taken one.
The lens cover is actually super smooth on the inside. They could easily tint the inside, and you could just slap it back together, and the tint would kind of be crimped in there. I bet it would work just fine tinting the inside.
Yeah, or at least get like a brow. But just to help a little bit, because gosh, I wear a big sombrero now, and I do everything just because the sun just beats on you all day. My neck's.
You can keep that Arkansas heat.
Yeah, it's awful.
I barely like the heat that we get up here, and it's not much.
The first night when I got here, I was already breathing better up here, just because I don't know, it's a lot cleaner up here. It feels like
it's a lot more humid up here too. The humidity keeps a lot of the nasty stuff out of the air. So did you have somebody to mentor under?
No.
Like somebody teach you?
There's one guy that polishes around me. I still haven't been to this day, but he started kind of slowing down, getting out of it, and he starts doing. He does like body work now, and so he kind of got tired of the polishing. His body work took off, and now he's always busy. And everybody that I polish for right now is like, yeah, we used to use Frankie, but he kind of does more body work now. So.
So how did you? Like for me, it just blows my mind that you're doing Airstreams a year and a half in, and you didn't have somebody just teach you.
No, because the guy that I do the Airstreams for, he does Nuvite and a rotary on a wool pad.
Really?
I was like, that just looks awful. Because I've seen some Airstreams that come in from other people that have polished them, and you can see all the rotary marks.
See, but all right, this is my story. I don't think it looks horrible to the right person. Because a lot of people, that's the only route they know, right?
Yeah.
It looks horrible to us
Yeah.
because it's not the way we would do it.
Right.
It's great for finishing, but it's not great for getting the result we want.
Yeah.
Right? So to us, it looks horrible, but to most people with an Airstream, it looks awesome because that's what they know.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to explain to people is different industries have different set of standards, right? So the swirls and stuff that they get from the Nuvite with a wool pad, a lot of those guys are just okay with that.
Yeah.
For us, we're like, oh my god, sit and cringe.
Yeah.
Like
and it
that
seems like
should not be there.
it seems like the industry for polishing Airstreams is more using Nuvite and rotary than it is using the buff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so thin, everybody's scared of wrecking it.
Yeah.
It's not the case most of the time.
Yeah.
But this isn't even your full-time gig.
No, I'm a firefighter full time, and just wanted to start polishing for some reason. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I missed the hard. I did construction for 4 years, and I was a welder and a plumber, and we'd work our butts off all day, and then I went to the fire department, and you work hard when we get calls or get fires or anything like that. You're working hard. Your adrenaline's rushing. But then you get back to the station, you cool down, you kind of sit on the couch and watch some TV, and do some training or something like that. And you relax inside, and you're there for 24 hours. And it's like I kind of miss the hard work aspect of just busting my butt all day. I don't know why.
So you get your fill of hard work by polishing.
Yeah, I do.
Full-time firefighter.
Yeah.
And does this for fun, just to get his fill of hard work.
Yes.
Well, there's no shortage of hard work in polishing.
No, there's not. It's some days it can be tough for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty wild. I personally know this story because we've gotten to know you a little better.
Yeah.
But it still just blows my mind. I always ask everybody, like, why would you get into polishing? Like, I love it, so I can't change it now and go back. But
yeah,
I always wonder, like, what was the appeal to everybody? Like, that's the one question I need to start asking everybody. Like, what was the appeal for you that you were like, this is something I want to try and pursue?
Yeah, I guess to kind of change it off a little bit, how I got started was, so at the fire department we have two 6,000-gallon milk truck tankers, and they're all stainless. And I messaged you, I was like, hey, you know, if I use this polish or whatever, you know, is this going to help, you know, or what? And you gave me some tips and everything. And so we had some really old polish that probably been sitting there like 5 years on the shelf. And I can't remember. I think it maybe been white diamond, or it might have even been the McGuire's wax, hand wax. And I just went to town, and I probably did a section as big as this table, and it came out all right. The hard water spots were still in it, but I mean, it came out shiny. I was like, okay, it's not bad.
I always forget the fire department's polish literally everything on theirs on a regular basis. Yeah, and
our tankers, they all have aluminum wheels on them, and so I was like, you polish the wheels on them.
So I suppose you're already kind of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, they don't ever get dirty. I mean, a fire truck's pretty much always clean, and it's not beat up. And so I was like, you polish the wheels, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. We got back from a call, and I was like, metal polish. Your videos came out, and I just kept on watching. And I bought some of your stuff you had at the time when I started watching the videos, and kind of went from there. And I had a buddy that I worked with at my old job in construction. He owned a semi, and he's like, yeah, man, you can come polish my truck. He's like, you know, if you do a bad job, you do a bad job. But if you do a good job, we'll spread the word and tell everybody. He's like, okay, sweet. And went and polished his truck. I kept on watching videos. I watched videos driving down the road until I got to his house to make sure I did it. I'm making sure I'm gonna do it right. And I did a good enough job for him. And I was like, I want to spread the word. And then from there, got a phone call from a guy, did some work for him. I kind of advertised it and started my business from there. And that took off word of mouth. And that's been my biggest success is word of mouth.
So you call it Woody's Metal Polishing? Mm-hmm. Has that been your nickname for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I've had multiple nicknames. Some I can't say on the camera. But yeah, Woody's always been one because my last name is Wood. So, yeah.
I figured that's where it had to have come from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's funny.
Why not?
So the firefighting is what got you into it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What keeps you in it?
Everybody I can meet. Yeah, I used to be. Before I started polishing, I hated talking to people, and I used to get really nervous to talk around people. And now somebody called and we'll talk or whatever. And
it's weird how that works.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of polishers I know that were like, you know, I was really quiet. I hated talking to people, and now all of a sudden, just super easy to talk to everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And I started talking to everybody, and then all of a sudden, Wupon's coming up. I was like, I got vacation I need to burn. The week before, I called you like, hey, I think I'm gonna come up to Wupon. I was like, okay, sounds good. And that's how I'm here.
That's awesome.
Like, I've really been wanting to meet everybody. Too bad I couldn't meet Steve or Casey, but you know, I got to meet.
It is
Keenan
too bad. I hope Steve and Casey are listening to this.
And Parker.
Because they keep telling me every year they're going to come up.
Yeah.
And they never do.
Yeah.
Steve was here a couple weeks ago.
That's true. Yeah, he was.
Casey was too. He was up here for the golf outing.
He was, yeah.
Never for when they should be.
No, not at all. But yeah, it's been a good experience so far. I've always enjoyed it and meeting everybody. I mean, it's been awesome.
You know,
made a lot of new friends. Seems like I have more older friends now that are truckers and stuff because I mean, there's just one guy I polish for. We'll talk for hours on end about stuff. He'll tell me about his truck and his history with his dad and where they went and everything and his stories about his dad would do stuff.
We'll say one good thing that came out of the Polisher Wars is that everybody started kind of talking to each other. Whether it was good or bad, everybody started talking to each other. More people started becoming more visible.
Yeah.
So, like, even though there were some rough years for some of us, you know, it did allow more people a channel and an avenue to start talking to each other.
Yeah, sure.
Well, catch me if it's getting close. Because I'm always nervous and I can't see it on this little screen. Because it doesn't run a timer.
Kids are getting old.
I know. All right, so you been in Arkansas your whole life?
Yeah, pretty much. I was born in Tennessee. My parents, they lived there their whole life. They're like, we don't want you growing up in Tennessee because it's like, it's getting rough.
Really?
Really bad. Yeah.
So you grew up in Tennessee?
Yeah, for like 2 years. And then we moved to where I live at now in that area, and around Town, Arkansas. And really good school systems and everything. And so that's where they wanted me to go. And so.
And you're married?
Yep, married. Yep, been together 7 years now.
Ooh,
yeah.
This one's the one that's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah. We'll be married 2 years in October. So, yeah.
Any kids?
Nope, no kids. No, we're trying to get my wife into. It's kind of hard to explain to people, but pretty much med school. So.
Well.
Yeah.
Good for you
Yeah.
guys.
So we'll find out at the end of this year whether or not she gets into school or not. So. Yeah.
So that kind of puts a damper on the.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we're like.
You'd
be financially stable. It's
you got
just
time.
Wait until you get done with school. Then we'll go.
You got time.
Yeah.
You got time. You guys are young.
Yeah.
So you're a year and 3/4 in.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you would go back and change right now, or do you think you'd keep trucking along?
You know, I probably my prices, because I got burned on a few things. And probably my prices, and I don't know. Probably market better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still to this day really bad at scheduling people. Like, it's so hard because people call me and I forget, and I'm very forgetful. So, I mean, it's bad.
One good piece of advice I can tell you is buy yourself a schedule. Like one of them planners you can get them right at Walmart for like $3 in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
They're like paper size, decent planner.
Yeah.
And just the roughest part is right now you're still learning your speed and your time, how long stuff takes, right? Yeah. So it's like try to plan it out as best as you can, but at the same time plan stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but now, this past 2 weeks now, I got Google Sheets on my phone, so every time somebody calls me, I go in there and put their information in just so I don't forget.
Yeah. So and I, honestly, as crazy as this is, I just had this talk with Cameron today about telling people no. Like, instead of blowing somebody off or keep stringing them along, it's better to just tell them, I'm sorry, I can't get to it till X date.
Yes.
I can't get to it till October. Yes, you're going to lose some customers because they don't want to wait till October. Right now it's mid-August.
Yeah.
So like we're booking in the middle of September, and I get people all the time, they're like, I got a show end of August. It's like, I can't squeeze you in. I'd like to.
Yeah.
My regulars, my guys that are with me twice a year, every year, I'll work some late nights and squeeze them in every time.
Yeah.
But when it's guys that don't come to me that often or go to other places to get touched up and don't come here as frequent, I'm sorry, but I'd rather see my wife and kids.
Right.
And I mean no disrespect to anybody, but I need to see my family too. And they, the same way they do, they go home and see their family.
Yeah.
I need to see my family once in a while. I'll skip a few times for my good guys that keep food on the table all year round. But the guys that, you know, they're here now just because their polisher didn't show up, and I'm just a see a need, fill a need.
Yeah.
But then they're going to go back to their regular polisher.
Right.
I'm not going to skip sleep for somebody that's not going to come back.
Yeah.
Like I can't compensate my time for that accordingly. Like I can't charge that person triple.
Yeah.
It's not right to do.
Right.
But at the same time, that's tough. So
it is for sure. Scheduling is probably a big thing too. Just figuring family time with my wife and my family, and then working, because like we work 24 hours on and have 48 hours off, and like 1 month I went pretty much working every single day polishing just because people were calling me like, oh, getting popular, like, you know, people were wanting to use me, so like, you know what, let's just work a little extra.
I'm telling you, in the polishing industry, they will work you to death. Nobody cares about your personal life.
Yeah.
Nobody cares you need a day off. Nobody cares you haven't had a day off in 2 years.
Yeah.
They will keep you busy.
They will.
If you don't say no, they won't say no. That's one thing I wish I would have told myself a long time ago. Because everybody just got used to me working 8 days a week, 25 hours a day, skipping sleep, We talk about it all the time, my wife and I, that I skipped my daughter's birthdays. I skipped our anniversaries. I skipped my birthday.
Yeah.
My wife's birthday. Like, we've rescheduled Christmas. We've rescheduled Thanksgiving around work. Like, nobody cares. They are home on their holidays. They don't care if you work on their holidays.
No, I don't.
So
want their stuff shining, and they want it kind of done now sometimes. So.
It's just, I don't want to sound like a pity party or that it's a sad life, but it really is. I mean, polishing, nobody cares.
No.
Just let you work whenever. So you say no.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have said some no's earlier on in my career because I missed out on a lot of birthdays, and I know truckers miss a lot of their kids' birthdays and stuff too. But at the same time, like, I didn't have to miss those birthdays, but I did. So as you start having kids, remember, if you don't say no now, people will get accustomed to that.
Well, I'm sure with my wife, she'll make sure to remind me. I already know that. She reminds me every other day, hey, when are you going to come be home and hang out?
Yeah.
It's like, I know, but it's helped pay for everything we do, so, you know, extra money.
I can understand that completely. So you're in 3/4 in. What's been the highlight of your career so far?
I got a phone call recently, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be doing a truck that's going to be in a movie that's getting remade, and I'm pretty excited about that. You know, something, you know, I'm a year and 3/4 in, and somebody's saying, "Hey, you want to come polish a truck that's going to be in a movie?" Like, heck yeah!
That's awesome. And the movie's being shot in your area?
I don't know if it is or not, but it's going to be revealed somewhere in my area.
So somebody just caught wind of you?
Yeah, they build trucks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I did an ad. Awful idea. Doing an ad on Facebook for polishing. Awful. It's like nonstop for a week. I had that up every single day. I get like 3 or 4 phone calls of polishing. It's like, gosh.
And from all over the country?
No, I kind of sanctioned it out in the area where I'm
local?
Yeah, local, yeah.
Well, that's not so bad then.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it got you some local notoriety.
It did, yeah.
I think Zach and Keenan used to do the, what was the pages you guys used to market in to get your farmers on board?
Oh, Craigslist.
Craigslist.
Yeah.
They used to do a lot of Craigslist back in the day during the slow
Yeah,
seasons.
start kicking you out because like wording their ads different. Yeah.
Who was that?
Yeah, Craig.
Marketplace.
Oh, Marketplace?
You can't
Facebook
ask-
Marketplace?
You can't list services on there, so you have to word them right, so you don't get blocked on Facebook. But farmers cruise that all day.
For Marketplace. I've never even thought about that. That's actually pretty genius.
They're looking at stuff to buy. So
Or,
it's like dries for sale, polished, and they call you and you're like, yeah, man, I'm just a polisher.
Craigslist. That was a big one for me before Marketplace. Yeah.
That's one we need to talk about in our group podcast.
Yeah.
Is some marketing and talk about your guys' marketing strategies because you guys are a lot smarter than you let on.
It seems like Craigslist is kind of a joke now, though, because it seems like you got to pay to market now. And it's
You gotta remember, a lot of those old farmers, they don't have Facebook.
Yeah.
So all they still have now is Craigslist.
Mhm.
I don't do it. Trust me anymore. I'm like, nah,
No thanks.
we're retired. You know? That's what we are, but-
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So you did a Facebook ad.
Yeah, I did a Facebook ad, and I was like, because I work at another fire department, like, I work there 1 day a week, and that pays my truck payment for the month. And, you know, I was like, I'm starting to slow down now and not really work there because it's interfering with my polishing when I schedule people in, because that day I didn't need to work there, it kind of interferes. And so I'm veering away from working there so much now. And I was starting to get nervous, cause like, man, I hope I have enough money to, you know, I mean, I got money in the bank, but I don't want to spend that money. I kind of want to make my money from that day, 1 day a week that I work. I want to make that money back on polishing something or doing detailing.
So the polishing side, is that something you ever want to make into like a full-time gig?
But possibly, yeah, with my retirement, you know, hopefully I'll be retired by like 40, 41 just from my retirement.
Through the fire department?
Through the fire department, yeah. And then I'll draw a salary the rest of my life.
Because you can't retire at 40 polishing.
No, you can't. No.
You tell me.
Yeah.
You gonna retire next year or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna be 40 next year, and I got a few more to go. I got probably a solid 11, I think. I definitely should have got in the fire department game, I guess.
Yeah.
Problem around here is all volunteers. I was telling Blake that on the way here. That
Yeah, being a volunteer though, it's not really that good though, and at least in our state, if you're a volunteer,
that's not great here either.
Yeah, I mean, your retirement, it's kind of a joke.
Mhm.
Because, we have one guy in our fire department down where I'm at, and he's been on the fire department now, I think, 45 years. I mean, straight volunteer, never been full time. And I think his check is just enough to probably pay the bills or whatever, but that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. And it blows my mind how that works, but I mean, yeah.
I don't know why you would at that point.
Right. Yeah, he's been working at the grocery store, I think, 49 years. So he's been at the fire department like 45 years. He's been at the same grocery store like 49 years, 48 years. Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, he's a crazy old man, but yeah,
That's wild. I mean, good for him if he's happy.
Yeah, that's for you, Randall. If you watch this.
I mean, what's the difference? I mean, if you're happy, you're happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people would work for nothing. I
They
mean,
will.
good for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, by the time I retire, I'd like to have a shop where we do like kind of custom work on trucks or like paint frames on trailers or whatever. Kind of go off, do polishing, but then do like kind of custom work too. That's always kind of been my dream, to have my own shop and do custom work.
So you think it'll become more of a full-time thing once you retire? Yeah. And the crazy thing is you'll retire early, so you can still have a lot of good years to stick with it. For what it's worth, I'm 39, been polishing steady since 23. So the last 16 years have been nothing but polishing. I didn't do anything else but polishing. And I still feel like the next 11 are going to be rough. I think I don't see any reason why you couldn't.
Yeah.
And if you're not burning yourself out now, by the time you get to 40, you should probably be able to get another 10 or 15 of solid business building. And you probably have a really good running start by the time you get there. You're what, 20?
24.
24 right now?
24, yeah.
So you got 16 years of building your name before you really take a full-time swing at it.
Yeah.
But you'll have a good head of steam before you get that far.
I sure hope I do.
Yeah. And don't feel like you have to get into a shop. Don't rush into that.
Yeah.
I see a lot of polishers rush into it, and I've seen a lot of polishers bury themselves in the dead of a shop. So take your time on that one.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I definitely will.
You seem like you got your head on your shoulders.
Yeah, I try my best. I try my best. I know it's like I really want to shop that bad, but I really don't, just because, I mean, I don't need it. I know it's a dream to have one. Like I want it like right now as I'm impatient.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really don't need it. Really, one thing I really need is a trailer, so I can stop keeping all my crap in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing that even like Casey with his trailer, Steve with his Sprinter van or whatever that thing is, and Zach with his Avalanche, all the stuff in the back, like you make it work however you're gonna do it. And a trailer definitely does make life a whole lot easier. Like when I bought my trailer, that was a game changer.
Could I add to that real quick on the trailer thing? No, but on the trailer thing, I did that game. The problem is obviously you know how much we traveled.
Oh yeah.
You know, we were from north to south to east to west. The problem there was we were running through tires too much.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I went. I never liked avalanches, but I was like, I always told Parker, I was like, I'm buying an avalanche.
You fit a lot in there.
I can lock everything in the back. It's no longer with us, and we don't have a trailer, so that's why I went that route.
I mean, you got to get in and out of places.
Yeah.
Why don't you get a minivan? Or...
Steve beat me to that, so I had to go a little different.
Had to go with the Abbey.
I love a Mercedes Sprinter van though, like the big one.
Yeah,
have, like,
put a bed in there.
In
Wouldn't have to stay in any crack hotels.
That's for the next podcast. We'll get back into that.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that. All the crazy places you probably stayed at.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, we're gonna do another podcast tonight.
Yeah.
The four of us will just sit and shoot the breeze. We'll get Zach talking about some of his hotel stories.
Yeah, but they're good.
Oh God, it just never ends.
Yeah.
There's no bottom to that pit. Some of the places he stayed in might have been pits even. But what's the most interesting thing you've polished so far?
Most interesting thing.
Skillet?
Yeah, I can say I think I've done 3 or 4 skillets. I don't know how Steve does it. I don't know how many he's done, but they suck.
A lot.
I've got 2 that are sitting underneath my workbench that I need to get done, but it's like I don't want to do this. They're so nasty from all the black crap that's on them. I mean, just yeah.
The one you sent for the golf outing looked nice.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't perfect. I mean, like, I don't know how Steve gets all the sanding marks.
The lady that won it was happy as hell.
Yeah, I'm glad.
She was just tickled pink.
Yeah.
She thought that was the coolest thing she's ever seen.
Okay, I'm glad.
But I'm like, I don't get any bright ideas because I ain't doing one.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing it. I'll buy one from Steve before I do one on my own.
Yeah. And then my first one I ever did, I put it in my jaw horse, and I guess I put it on too tight, or I just put it in there just right, and I barely touched the pedal, and dink, it cracked right in half. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Oh." And that just really grinding my gears. I was like, "This sucks."
I don't even know how much those things cost. What's the price on one of the things?
That's like $19, $20.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not even expensive.
You get into high dollar stuff, then they start getting really expensive. But I mean, you can go to Walmart. You can actually buy, about $20.
Like those lodges are $20.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'll just
yeah,
like,
they're cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
It's like $24.99.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Everybody raves about cooking in cast iron and stuff. What's the difference then? If they're just a $20
The
pan.
seasoning.
Yeah.
It's not just a pan. That's just the price. It's like the material. They do cook better.
Yeah.
You gotta remember on depth.
It cooks that much better?
Yeah, I think so.
They hold heat longer.
And it's even heat too.
Yeah.
They take longer to heat up. Once they heat up, they cook even.
Listen, I'm not a professional chef enough to know that that's gonna make a difference. That's what I mean. Like I turn my smoker on and I cook in it. That's it. That's literally all I know. I can't. I don't think I could justify.
$25.
That's what I mean. Is like I bought my wife like a couple $100 pans. I'm just gonna tell her from now on she needs a $20 pan. Apparently that's worth it.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. They're cheap.
I didn't realize they were that cheap.
Yeah, they are.
I can understand that. It just broke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for real.
Well, it's cast too.
Yeah, it is.
So like
Just cast iron.
I mean, they're kind of fragile. It's cast. It's like cast aluminum.
So one day I might cut it up and make like a spatula out of
Yeah.
it. So need something different.
Heat it up, melt it down, and smash it flat.
Yeah. Well, it cracked where the handle, like it cracked down the sides where the handle's at. So it'd be perfect. Just cut it out with the grinder.
Turn it into special.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Special that never gets hot,
Mm-hmm.
but once it's hot, it never cools down.
Probably cook a mean egg on it or something.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, what's the most interesting thing you polished? Then?
Man, I don't know. I don't know if I've done one yet, really.
Nothing too.
I mean, I've done some
crazy.
pretty nice trucks. I've done a truck that I sent you an email earlier. It's chopped. It's got a 4-inch chop, I believe. It's like a 2005 379, and the
Give
guy
the guy a shout out. Who we talking about?
Hmm?
Who we talking about? Give me a shout out.
Gary Haythorn out of Springdale, Arkansas. Guy, top notch guy. I mean, he keeps his stuff clean. It's always polished. I mean, he'll call me. He's like, "Hey, the truck wash got too much acid on my wheels or whatever. Come fix it, please." So I'll go out there and go fix it for him.
That's awesome. Those
Yeah.
are good customers.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. He's giving me a lot of advice and everything. He has some pretty sweet rides. But it's a 379 Peterbilt. It's got a 4-inch chop on the front. And it's a long nose. And it's purple and white. It's got a stretch frame, I think it's 300 wheelbase.
Really?
Yeah, or 305.
That's a big truck for them by you guys.
Mm-hmm.
265 common down there?
Yeah.
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 'Cause you guys don't need them crazy long down by you either.
No.
A lot of local loaders.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of factories around where we're at. A lot
Oh, really?
of factories, yeah.
So are they running to like distribution centers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I know Gary, he runs to Missouri, I believe somewhere in Oklahoma, then Texas, and then back to Springdale.
Okay.
Yeah. Just hauling, I think he's hauling frozen chickens.
Huh.
Yeah.
A lot of chicken factories.
Huge. Chicken's huge in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are chickens big in Arkansas?
I don't know. I could not tell you.
Mine too. Same one
Yeah.
as in Missouri over there. It's
Is it because of the heat?
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know.
It's like,
No, it's because of Tyson, because Tyson started there. So
Yeah, but why? That's what I don't understand. Like,
why did you start children?
well, I guess because like you can't raise chickens in the frozen tundra.
yeah.
I mean, not in chicken factory, probably, but.
That's what I mean. Like the
Well, like,
factories.
why did you start in children? I don't know. Mr. Tyson probably lived in Arkansas.
Well, for me, it's because I like being cold.
Well,
I hate being hot.
here, like, you just started.
That's what I mean. Is maybe the theory is you couldn't do it in a cold area.
Tell you what, they smell really nice in the summer.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh god.
Listen, our paper mills up here don't smell any better.
oh yeah.
Really.
I don't know about that. Our paper mills are nasty.
They're bad.
You drive through Kaukauna and it's like it'll gag you.
Chicken factories, bleh.
I don't know. I've been
Yeah,
around
we got.
Breakbush and it was sucked in the summer, but it
was
really
like
wasn't
live
that bad.
chicken, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're bringing in
They
the
don't like
chickens.
to live there, like Tyson.
Oh, no.
Ugh. Chicken farms.
They're nasty. We had a chicken house fire one time, and the whole entire thing was full of chickens. I mean, that thing. It was like 8. I can't even remember how long. I think it was like 800 feet. Not 800 feet, but trying to think. I mean, this thing was huge. I mean, stupid huge.
800 feet's big.
It might be 800 feet long. I mean, I'm trying to think. It might be 800 feet long.
That's a huge
or bigger, but I mean, only half of it was on fire. And then I guess all of a sudden the fans had kicked on the other side, and there was no chickens, and it just sucked in air, and poof, the whole entire thing was fully involved. And you just hear the chickens burning. I mean,
Oh.
yeah.
Flavor chicken breast.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Oh,
Just
man.
eat
Chicken
a
nuggets.
whole barbecue around there.
You show them barbecue sauce? Like, I don't even know.
Not legs, I guess.
Yeah. And me and my assistant chief, we parked our rigs pretty close to the door where the unburned side was, and we're on the other side of the chicken house. And our fire chief says, "Hey, you need to move your vehicles now because the whole entire side is involved." And so we're running back to our trucks, and I get to my truck, and I couldn't even touch it. It was so hot. And I was like, "Whoa!" And this, at that time, my truck was brand new, like brand new.
Ooh.
And I was like, "Oh crap!"
Peel paint?
No, it didn't. But
Really?
I'm sure the paint's cured now. Yeah. Jesus. And then I got stuck in the mud in the field. I was like, I just left it there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, up here, we get a lot of real nasty fires, seems like in the winters,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything freezes, and it's just a giant ice skating rink. And I always feel bad for the firefighters when stuff happens up here when it's 10, 20 below, because it's like, what are you going to do?
Your
Yeah,
line
choice.
freeze or whatever. And so,
That's just nasty.
yeah, when I was doing, we had a shutdown one time when I was doing construction at a chicken plant. It was a kill plant. Oh, that was my first time ever doing like legit chicken plant work. And we go in there, we have to cut a T in on this 4-inch stainless line in the kill room. And you just walk in there, there's like 2 inches of water in there, just grease. Like you can see the film and everything. And I guess in the next room over there was where they like defeather them. And like
Yeah.
there's like probably a brick wall like as wide as this building is. And there's just feathers.
Oh.
And it stinks so bad. And when they say the stink will stay on your clothes after you wash it, it did.
Really?
Yeah. It was just, ugh, disgusting.
So your fire suit was just terrible.
Well, no, I did this when I did construction.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In construction work, and yeah. No.
Take that home with you every day.
Yeah. I mean,
Polishing don't seem that bad, I guess.
No. Get a loofah and get some little Bad Bath and Beyond and
You're
done.
just done. You're good.
Yeah. Take chicken house crap and then stuck it in your shoes and your truck and your floorboards. And,
That's funny.
yeah.
All right. So this has started to become one of my favorite parts, just because got a sick and twisted sense of humor, I guess. But what's the biggest thing you've gotten burnt on?
I can finally tell the story about it. Golly.
Yeah, you were excited to tell me about it before I even told you this was part of it. I mean, you've listened to a few of the podcasts now.
Yeah. Oh God, it's been my head hurts now thinking about it. This is when I first started polishing. This guy's like, "Hey man, I got these 4 American Forces that I need to get polished." Okay, sounds good, man. He's like, he sent me pictures of it, and They looked fine to me in the picture. You know, I didn't know they had ceramic bead coated all the wheels.
American Forces?
Yeah,
Really?
They were like really old ones.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I remember I talked to you about this because I was like struggling. I was like, hey man, like this stuff is not coming off.
I do remember this conversation now.
Yeah. And I was like, these are not coming off. And I had them for like 3 weeks. Like, man, like I'm trying. He's like, it's okay. My truck's like, it needs work. It's gonna be a while before it's done. So he's like, take your time. I was like, okay, sweet. And one day I started going to town and I took 40 grit sandpaper and it would not touch it. I'm dead serious. On a rotary. Yeah. And when I did it with a rotary, it instantly flashed over and like it got stuck in the grinding disc.
You sure it wasn't
Well, I was using because I was like, I'm not buying expensive sandpaper to do these. I bought that Diablo.
Diablo. El Diablo.
Yeah, I bought Diablo sandpaper to do it. Oh, and
That stuff flashes so fast.
Yeah, and
it's terrible sandpaper.
Instantly.
For what we do.
Yeah, yeah. And
It's great for wood.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, but it instantly like turned gray from all the ceramic. I was like, oh, God. He was like, I'm about to tell the guy like I can't fix it.
Yeah.
And so I started. I can't remember what I did. If I asked like on one of the polisher pages what I needed to do or whatever, they're like, take it to a place like a powder coating place and get it stripped. And so I went to some. I won't say the city it was at, but these guys were rough. I mean, they were in tank top T-shirts like Parker was wearing.
A racerback?
Yeah. And they was like, I was like, man, hey, I'm a polisher. Like, you know, I'm kind of curious how you strip these. I kind of like to watch. They're like, okay, sounds good, man. I'm going into like this dark room where they powder coat. It's like really dark.
And literally just sandblasted it.
No, they dip it in like a 50 or 55 gallon tank, or 275 gallon tank like you have outside for your water.
Sure.
And it's like full of some
Solvent.
bentonite or sort of the B. I can't think of the name of it. Sort of the B acid or stripper.
I think that is bentonite. Can you want to Google that?
Yeah, but it's some kind of strong stripper. He's like, yeah, you gotta wear a respirator and everything, and protection around this. And he opens the lid right there in front of my face, and I get the whiff, and I can just feel my hair burning instantly. I was like, oh my God. And all these guys are like, they're like in T-shirts like Parker walking around. Like, yeah, man, they're scratching their skin where they've gotten burned and everything from the stuff getting on their skin.
Yikes.
Like, okay, I see how you do it. I'm out. Call me when you're done.
Call me when it's done.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
And did it fix the problem?
Oh, yeah, it fixed the problem. It stripped it right off. Because.
Beading coat, sorry.
Yep, that's it.
It's a high concentration of methylene chloride.
Methylene chloride.
Yeah.
That'll strip it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was.
It doesn't eat plastic, but it'll eat everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's safe in aluminum, too, for what it's worth. Right? Methylene chloride?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it eat just about any coating, but it's safe on...
It has to be safe on the powder coat. They strip forged wheels all the time with it.
That's what I mean.
So it has to be safe.
I think it's safe for aluminum and... Maybe not stainless, though. Maybe it would eat stainless and steel. No thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I did it. And it
But
worked.
it worked.
It worked, yeah. Everything was gone. They took it to the car wash and power washed all the stuff off.
And did you still end up sanding it after that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that one spot I hit with 40 grit, it marked it.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but I could not get it out. I could not. I mean, it was one pigtail, and like I just shoved that buffer in there, and it would not come
40 grit is rough.
out. Yeah.
Like, sanding out 40 grit just... Yeah. Not awesome.
Yeah, and as soon as it's really bad to say this, but as soon as I delivered them, I deleted the numbers, like, done. Don't ever call me to come fix these wheels again. Because, like, this is...
So the guy calls you again, you're like, who is this? And the guy's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You must be that guy.
Yeah. I don't want to talk to you. Like, take them somewhere else. There's a guy 3 hours away that'll polish.
So what did you quote it? If you don't want to tell me, it's fine.
Ooh, I mean, you're just gonna break. $180, all four of them.
For the 4?
Yeah, it cost me $100 to get them stripped.
So 45 pieces is what you quoted them.
Yeah.
And you were definitely too nice to tell the customer.
That was.
We all are.
Yeah.
We all are.
Yeah.
So you quoted them 180.
Mm-hmm.
So 45 a piece.
Yeah.
And it cost you $100 just to strip them.
Yeah, but he paid for it.
Oh, the customer did.
He paid for it. He's like, hey man, I gotta get these stripped. It's gonna cost an extra $100. He paid that.
Okay.
But the amount of sandpaper it costed me, because I bought a lot of sandpaper,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to get this ceramic coat off. And, yeah, I probably spent $80 in sandpaper.
Inexperience is one of the hardest learning lessons as you're going along.
Yeah.
It's just brutal sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably the toughest part of metal polishing is when you first start off. That learning curve is brutal because a lot of people don't want to tell you those tricks. And honestly, that's one I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you learned one hard for all of us.
Yes, I did.
So what do you think? What do you think realistically? Now that you've been polishing for a while, realistically, what do you think you had in it? Like if you were to have to charge somebody for it now with the knowledge you have, somebody brought you another set, what would you charge for?
I would say at least $300, $350 for all 4 of them, and they pay for the stripping.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I've kind of got a technique figured out how I can. I mean, I can do a set of 24s in an hour on a truck. Like 24-inch American Force wheels.
Yeah.
Just doing the face and then the barrel and the lip.
And what do you charge for that?
They usually charge like $200.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Way less than me.
Yeah. There's one guy, he kind of tells me what he charges people, and I was like, man, I feel so bad charging people that much, but you charge what you think you're worth, and he charges way more than what I would. Man.
See, me, I look at it like if for some god awful reason I wreck one, like those wheels are $7 to $10 grand, some of them.
Yeah.
Like I need to be able to cover at least my deductible somehow, So.
Yeah. Definitely.
Sadly, I based mine on my deductible.
That's fair. Yeah.
$500 deductible, $500 my minimum.
Yeah. It's understandable.
I hate to be that way, but if something goes wrong and they come back after me because it's sanded and it cracked, like I don't want to eat it. Like I want to be able to at least cover my deductible for my insurance.
Yeah.
And not be out.
And I try to steer clear away from sanding on forged wheels.
On forged wheels.
Yeah, I just don't like it. Ever since them ceramic beaded wheels, I don't like it. I mean,
for us with the machine, it's easy.
Yeah.
You can bang a sand on them and just run them on the machine and get them back to brand new again. But
I don't know. I just don't like it. Sanding on the bill of wheels.
yeah.
It's just,
If the wheels are maintained well, you don't need to. I mean, as long as they don't let them get too tore up.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can just cut them and color them and send it down the road.
Yeah.
You don't need to sand or do any of that stuff.
That's what I pretty much do. I always fix curb rash because everybody I polish forces for, they're curb rashed.
Yeah, everybody wants to go through a drive-through and they're just too wide. And everybody hits the drive-through.
Yep, that's exactly right. I polished a set of forces for a guy. He just bought this truck, I think, and he had it a week. I polished the wheels, and he texted me, I think 3 weeks later. He's like, hey man, went through Taco Bell, curved my wheels, can you fix them? I was like, yep, bring it on back.
Been there, done that. I did a guy's set on a Friday night at a show. Or, no, we did it on a Thursday. And he curved it that night. I had us polish him again on Friday. And then he curved him again and asked us if we do him again on Saturday. I'm like, oh, before I leave? He's like, no, I need him done before the show. I'm like, guess.
Yeah. There's one guy that I polished a set. I think they were American Racing honeycombs. I polished them, and he was taking his truck, I think maybe to a truck show or something. And a day later, he texts me like, "Hey man, can you fix my wheels?" I sprayed McGuire's wheel cleaner on them. And he's like, and I looked at the ingredients. He showed me the bottle. It said acid. It's like, yeah, there's your winner right there.
That'll get you every time.
Yep. Recut them and color them.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It is.
I mean, you can only do so much. You can warn everybody, but at the end of the day, like, they still want to keep it clean.
Everybody that
it says wheel cleaner.
Yeah. Every time I polish truck, soap and water only. I mean, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need.
I always tell everybody no acid.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, I'll get it acided before I come there. I'm like, then don't bring it here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody likes it that way. No, I do not.
Yeah.
I'm not everybody.
And that's where I'm kind of different from you. Everybody that I polish for, like, all right, I'm gonna get the truck clean, and I always get it acid washed. And I don't really want to turn people away, but I mean that's understandable for you. You've been doing it this long.
Well, that's what I mean. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Like I have guys that'll stop in some mornings and they're like, oh, yeah, I got it acided yesterday. I'm like, all right, I know you're new.
Mm-hmm.
Next time, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, like I despise acid. I don't like it. Half the time, it makes my work harder.
Mm-hmm.
If I need it, I have it.
Yeah.
I'd rather I did it here than
Mm-hmm.
somebody else just cooking it on there and letting it sit and bake.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need it dried and nasty and just makes my work harder.
Yeah. It's.
I know you see that every day.
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah. I did this one log truck. Oh my god! I mean, I don't even know how to explain. I mean, they were wider than these screens. I mean, you couldn't even see reflection. You stick your finger into it, and it was like just white, like a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'll be here all day.
Uh-huh.
And I was.
Yep.
Man,
Ton of sandpaper.
Yeah, lots of sandpaper. Lots of sandpaper. And it came out good. It's like,
Just a ton of work though.
mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
It always does come out good because it's super clean, but it's
Mhm.
just a ton more work. And it's like, all right, now how do I pass this cost on?
Yeah.
It's hard
It
because
is.
it's like, how do you tell a guy that a service he just paid somebody to do has now cost him more money?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I've done estimates for people, and I was like, this is what it would cost based on the pictures you sent me,
Mm-hmm.
and then they get it acided before they come, and I'm like, well, we can double all that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but the pictures you sent me looked good. I wouldn't have had to sand anything, but now that you've acided it, I have to sand everything in that picture.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's one thing I always do now. Like, hey, I know you might not be phone savvy, but try to at least send me pictures of what I'm going to be working with. 'Cause I kind of want to know how my day's going to go.
I don't need perfect pictures.
Yeah.
You know, send me something better than a flip phone, but
Yeah.
I don't need anything perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Send me a close up and I'm good.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's that's how I learned the hard way on some stuff.
Well, then you didn't get burnt too bad.
No, I didn't know, but I kind of want to, because I always just want to be faster and faster and see quick, and just because I don't want to be there for 10 hours a day. My first truck I ever did, or my second truck I ever did, it needed sanded. Everything needed sanded. I was there for 2 days.
Really?
Yeah, the second truck.
So, working in the shop today, what was did anything surprise you about speed-wise? I mean, other than the fact that we had 4 people polishing, like
your technique on the drives. I started doing that last week after you put that video out. I think on YouTube, maybe I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried that out and it worked really good.
cut your time down?
Yeah.
Really?
Guy, Gary, he's selling a truck. He's in a flip, and he's wanting the wheels to look good. And I did that process on them, and they came up just fine.
Just so you didn't have to sand them.
Yeah.
Yep. The cross-cut pattern?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had the little just brake dust burned on them, and
It does save a lot of time.
yeah, it does.
What about, will you watch Keenan do a grill for a while?
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
But grills, I'm definitely. When I first started doing grills, I would always have that pattern of the hash going the way I didn't want it to go, and you could tell. And I'm starting to realize now what I need to do to fix that.
To change your angle?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing, is once you figure out your light angles,
Mm-hmm.
makes a big difference.
Yeah. It does. And on tanks, I used to suck at end caps.
Really?
God, yeah. One of the guys that his name's Brian Blevins. He called me out on it one day. He's like, "Hey man, that tank cap kind of looks like crap. You can see all the lines in it." I was like, "I know." I was like, "I suck, and I'm doing this with a 3,500 RPM grinder."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I think I was probably 8 or 9 months in. I was like, I'm pulling the plug. I'm getting the 6,000.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. And ever since then, that's all really ever used.
Made a big difference?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Always tell people, like, 6,000 definitely will help you build up heat better and helps widen your pattern, that kind of stuff. So it makes end caps a little easier, but it makes a lot of mess too if it goes bad. But
yeah, it does.
Huh.
Yeah, 3,500. See, it just seems so much slower, and it might not be, but To me,
It is.
feels like it's a lot slower.
It is 3,500. You need to move slower because it takes longer to build heat.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that polishes super fast with this variable.
Mm-hmm.
Like most guys are doing 1 truck a day.
Right.
Most aren't doing 2. And if they are doing 2, they got a big crew.
Yeah.
You know, you got multiple guys working and getting after it.
Yeah, that was probably about 8 months. I did just one grinder. And
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of just a tight wad. I was like, I don't want to spend my money. And I was like, I'm buying it. And then I had a guy start helping me. He's like, I'm gonna buy another one because I'm kind of getting tired of letting him use that when I need to use it so I can get done faster.
I should take you up and show you my side on our polishing supply.
Yeah.
For the guys in the shop, we have 7 grinders just laying there.
Mm-hmm.
For one burns out, we can grab one and go.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks, but that's the belly of the beast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And knock on wood, I mean, I haven't had a grinder go out on me yet. I mean, except for my brushes went out.
Oh, yeah.
On my 6,000.
Remind me to take a look at that.
Yeah.
I have a set of brushes here for it if you need them.
Yeah, I was 3/4 of the way up a tank, and all of a sudden, bam! It stopped. I was like, "What the hell?" Well, it didn't even make any
Spitting
sense. It didn't even
fire.
make any sound. It just,
Really?
yeah, just did. I was like, "Crap!" It was like went and looked at all the breakers. None of them were tripped. I stuck it in another plug. It wouldn't work.
Huh.
And I started kind of smelling something, but I stopped.
That's
And
the biggest telltale.
Yeah.
Even through a respirator, half the time you can smell
Yeah,
that. Like, I don't know how that smell gets through.
like I
but
smelled it when Keenan burned that one up earlier.
yeah.
And I was like, "That's something burning."
Oh yeah, it's just instant hot.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it's like my favorite grinder. Like I don't want to burn it up. Like I'll probably buy replacement parts for it. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like my first car, first truck, whatever. It's my first grinder. I want to keep it.
I was gonna say, I kept my first grinder. It's actually sitting on my shelf out there. We polished the head on it and everything now.
Yeah.
One of those sentimental things for me.
Yeah.
Like, I think polished a lot of trucks and made me a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't retire it and just throw it in the trash.
No, not at all. No. It's like I got that DeWalt and I chunked that thing everywhere.
Uh-huh.
That DeWalt just. I mean, yeah, we talked about this on Snapchat a while ago. Like, for some reason, it was making a grinding noise every time I pulled the trigger, and it was because I locked it too fast in the gears, and it was just awful sound.
Chunk of something laying
Yeah,
there.
something's going. I haven't pulled the head apart since then. I don't want to. I'm sure something's missing.
Chunk of metal laying in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Keenan came by me yesterday and he's like, "So the grinder's spitting stuff at me and it's clunking pretty hard." I said, "Yeah, I can hear it from up here." He's like, "What is that? Like, should I keep using it? Should I not?" I'm like, "It's some little piece of fiberglass resin that they use to hold the windings together.
Mm-hmm.
When they get too hot, and it's been hot this week,
Yeah.
when it gets too hot, that fiberglass resin pops off the winding
Mm-hmm.
and it slings around in there and it comes shooting out at 100 mile an hour at lava heat."
Yeah.
They're little nasty bastards.
And rouge bars, man, when you get them things that small, I've launched them sometimes. Like I launched one into a side of an Airstream once. I was like, "Oh crap!" And like it kind of
Yeah.
flattened out into it.
We stopped letting them get that small.
Yeah.
Keenan and those guys, when he was working with Zach, they used to shoot him at each other.
Man, I'm sure that crap hurts.
It's like getting hit with a bullet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't let them get that far now. We melt them down in the winters and make new bars out of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, why run them down that small when
Right.
you don't need to?
Mm-hmm.
So
And I've been actually saving mine up. I mean, it's going to take me a while to get in a big enough pile to make a bar, but I'm saving all mine up.
You'd
all
be
my
surprised.
Brown and greens.
you'd be surprised how much it adds up over the year or years.
Yeah.
When I first started, I just threw them all away.
Mhm.
Like, I think about that now, and I'm like, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds I threw away.
Yeah.
But it had to have been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, I think last year we made 150 pounds of brown and 300 pounds of green. I mean,
a lot,
in a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Our wheel machines chew through them.
I mean, how many pounds a month do y'all go through, you think?
Oh, God. I don't even want to calculate it. We go through... I want to say we went through 6 cases last month. So that's 300 pounds last month.
Wow.
350 pounds of brown.
Dang.
And probably about the same in green.
Mm-hmm.
We went through half as much, but they weigh almost twice as much.
Mm-hmm.
So probably maybe 200 pounds of green last month.
Yeah.
So 300 pounds of brown and 200 pounds of green, so 500 pounds of compound last month.
Yeah.
But we had a record-breaking month last month. I mean, we were hustling hard.
Good.
It was a good month last month.
Mm-hmm. What's the? I see on Facebook all the time. Everybody's blowing buffs up. Knock on wood, I've never had one, blow up on me.
Buffs are only rated for 3,500 RPM, and we're running them at 6.
Mm-hmm.
So at 3,500 RPM, what is the calculation? 3,500 RPM on a 9-inch buff is like 45 mile an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that much.
Yeah.
And at 6,000 RPM, it's like 85 or 90 mile an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's fast.
Yeah.
It's blazing fast.
Yeah.
As soon as you start putting it under torque, those metal clinch rings, they're just shark's teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It just bite into the fabric to hold it in place.
Yeah.
At 6,000 RPM plus the torque, a lot of polishers push way too much pressure on, and some let it free spin. Like they'll just hold the grinder there
Mm-hmm.
and put their rouge on and then let it dry for a second before they start using it. Free spinning is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
It's like dry shooting a bow.
Yeah.
Like it's bad for the bow.
And like going in, like letting it dry. Like I never realized on polishing, there's so much more that goes into it, like the fine stuff about the bars and the dries and the wets, and I'm realizing that now. That's a big thing.
Oh yeah. And as you get deeper into it, it'll ruin your days sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, all right, well, I got to go grab the bar I don't like
Mm-hmm.
because it's what I need to do to get through the day.
Yeah.
But blowing out buffs has never been uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
8-inch buffs hardly ever blow out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen an 8-inch buff blow out.
Yeah.
10-inch buffs, very common for blowing out because you got a 10-inch buff on a 3-inch ring.
Yeah.
The amount of torque and pressure that is on those chunks of fabric that are spinning at 6,000 RPM
Mm-hmm.
is just astronomical.
Yeah.
How they hold together is a bigger mystery than how they blow apart.
Mm-hmm.
They should almost all blow apart.
Yeah.
10-inch buffs on a 6,000 RPM grinder should not hold together by simple laws of physics.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of the reason why we started making 9-inch buffs.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did it save on the buffers, but it saved on blowouts.
Yeah. Did you run 10-inch a lot back in the day?
I never ran 10-inch.
Yeah.
I always ran 8-inch. 8-inch was all I ran for the first 15 years of my career.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the last 4, maybe 5, that the company we were working with, we helped them develop the 9-inch,
Mm-hmm.
and we switched everything over to 9-inch. But I used 8-inch buffs up until then. I didn't use... Only time I ever used a 10-inch buff is if we were doing a trailer rail.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just because I wanted to use one buff to get all the way around it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have to swap out buffs. Now that I'm getting further in my career, I'd rather use one 9-inch buff to do one side and then save the rest of it for diamond plate down the road
Mm-hmm.
and use another brand new 9-inch to do the other side because then both sides look exactly the same.
Yeah.
If you use,
I was noticing that today, kind of with buffs.
if you use the same buff all the way around it,
That's what I've been usually doing.
gets more wore out that by the time you get to the other side, it doesn't look the same on the other side as it does on that side because it's not the same buff.
Yeah.
So I just swap them out. But yeah, 8-inch is what I started my whole career on, was 8-inch, and 10-inch just kind of wasn't my gig.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's pretty close to your hands too. I mean, it feels
we hold
like-
on to a stick of dynamite.
Yeah.
I mean, I've posted videos and pictures of people's stuff blowing up,
Yeah.
and
So I had that one right there.
it's a bad deal.
Yeah, that one. Oh God, I hate honeycombs.
I mean, we've all had enough.
Yeah.
We've all had a burn at some point in time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen guys lose fingers. I've seen guys hack their arms up.
Mm-hmm.
I know one guy that a buff cut loose, ran up his arm, and it got to his neck, and he flinched like this, and it just sat and ground into his neck like that. He's
Mhm.
missing a big chunk right here,
Yeah.
between his ear all the way down into his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came up, it cut his tendon, and his tendon for his upper, what is that, bicep, curled up
Mm-hmm.
right up to his shoulder, and they had to go in and reconstruct it all. And now his arm is always like this; it
Mhm.
doesn't extend out straight.
Probably trigger lock.
Yeah, yeah. Literally, back then they didn't have safety flanges other than the black flanges,
Yeah.
and the black flanges don't work unless you use an arbor extension. And none of us wanted to use an arbor extension, so we just ran them.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, a lot of the polishers just didn't run safety flanges at all,
Yeah.
and nobody welded anything.
Mm-hmm.
I started welding them when I got into it because my dad was a welder, and
Yeah.
he didn't want to see me not welding or not running them with welded centers, so he just welded them all for me.
Yeah.
Um,
So who kind of started the safety flange kind of deal? I mean, what made everybody kind of get into that?
There was a few companies making custom ones before we did. I kind of fine-tuned the process a little bit, but there's a few companies making them. What's that company up in Canada? Infinish or something like that. They made a pretty unique one. I wasn't a huge fan of theirs, and getting Canadian stuff down here wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And my uncle's a full-blown engineer, so I just took a buff to my uncle and I said, "Here, this is what I have.
Yeah.
This is the best option I have. Can you make me something different?" He goes, "Yeah, I can make you a threaded plate for the top, and then you don't have to put a nut on it." Because I used to put a nut on everything. If you check out some of my older YouTube videos, it shows how to mount a buff without using safety flanges, and it shows 2 grinder nuts and a washer.
Yeah.
That was my solution.
Yeah.
But after talking to my uncle, he developed the current safety flange that we have. We made some modifications over the years to help make them pull apart easier and that kind of stuff. But I had him make me some steel sets. They were super heavy,
But they were.
but they never flew apart. They never broke.
Have you had them break before?
I have. I've had some aluminum ones let loose. Sometimes you catch it on a lug nut and snub it out, and it breaks the threads, and now you got a safety flange that don't do nothing.
Yeah, I know. On mine, mine's pretty trimmed up from lug nut or from the gasket seal on the axle. So,
That's pretty common.
Yeah.
So what's your best advice for a new polisher?
I'd have to say probably don't give up, because you're gonna suck at first. That's how I kind of see it.
That's good
It's kind of
advice.
like when I started pinstriping. I like pinstriping. I like that old school stuff. Or something.
No, that one's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. It's like I kind of like pinstriping too, but I never have time anymore to try it. Like Gooch Custom says, and Ronnie Haythorn say, "You suck. You're gonna suck." I mean, it takes time to learn an art,
I love it.
and polishing's an art. You got to learn how to do it and get a technique down. And if you don't got it, you don't got it.
I love
I
Gooch.
kind of see.
Gooch and Haythorn. They're two of my favorite pinstripers. Flannel Phillip, he's really good as well.
Yeah, he looks like he's starting to come up a lot with it.
Yep. I have Gooch's fridge.
Yeah, we were looking at it. We were talking about that earlier.
I got a bunch of coffee cups from Gooch. What else did I buy? I got some shirts, and Gooch is one of my favorite pinstripers. His old school lowrider style, between his paint and his pinstripe.
Yeah.
I just love that stuff. That old nostalgia. He's honestly one of the best in the market.
Yeah.
Hate him. That Viper he just did. I'm a
really
huge Viper fan, so
Yeah.
that was the first thing I'd seen. But
that Viper, what he did was really good.
in that front end, how symmetrical and how like perfect it fits into the stripe.
Yeah.
The pinstripes on a stripe. That's just like next level stuff for me.
Yeah, that is.
And
I'd like to meet him one day, just because his personality just seemed wild. That'd be
the old lady that does my pinstriping, she's well into her 70s, I believe. And I keep asking her, like, how long are you going to keep doing it? She goes, till the good Lord don't let me no more.
Yeah,
you know?
there you
And she could literally dip and walk from one end to a car and have a perfectly straight line. I mean, she's just amazing.
Yeah.
Huffy, truck driver out of Illinois. He's a really good pinstriper. He taught himself. Like, he's just an amazing creature. He's the one that did that sign above my desk.
Yeah.
What's Huffy's real name? Mike. I don't remember his last name. Mike. Mike Huff.
I think actually it is.
Really?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Huffy works for Spinolis, but I don't remember. Maybe it is Mike Huff.
Yeah.
Mike Huff?
No, there we go. It popped from my Facebook. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, I got you.
I'm searching.
Well, it's Mike something. Everybody calls him Huffy.
Yeah, it's Mike Huff.
Mike Huff. All right.
That's what I thought it was.
He's a really great pinstriper too, and self-taught. Kind of does his own thing. I think even Greg Stahl started pinstriping. He's one of the best painters I know, and he literally teaching himself how to
Yeah.
pinstripe as well.
Yeah, it blows my mind how he does like the in depth. It looks so in depth, like on that fruit in the front of it. It looks so in depth, but
Yeah.
it's all just one thing. It's just taping the lines and and painting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
Just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know how these guys do it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's an art that I can't do, so I have a lot of appeal for it. Like at my house, I'll have to show you before you head out on Friday or Saturday, whichever day you leave. I'll have to show you some of my pinstripe art I have at my house. I've purchased a lot of pieces over the years that just I like art.
Yeah.
So pinstripe art was just a win-win for me
Mm-hmm.
because not only do I like art, but I like pinstriping.
Yeah.
So I've got some pretty cool pieces that were for sale at some charity auctions and stuff like that. And I've gotten to meet a lot of really cool pinstripers over the years.
That's it. Yeah, it's like I was asking you earlier. Like I'd like to get a few of these or something like that because I like to hang them in my room because I have a little office at the house and it's got all my stuff in it and everything. And I kind of like to have like a little wall of this stuff. I've got the calendars in there, and then I've got some other stuff, my fire hydrants and stuff.
Yeah. The Roland drawings, like he blows my mind too.
Oh yeah, he does.
The way he draws is just unbelievable. Half these drawings just pop right off the page. I mean, they actually look like they
Real
were just pictures taken.
Yeah, it's
Just
nuts.
blows my mind.
It is.
But I guess all we got left is I open the floor to you.
Mm-hmm.
You ask me a question and put me in the hot seat for a minute.
I would say, I mean, where do you want to take time to shine, and where do you see your business? Like you said, you kind of want to retire in the next 11 years, maybe or so. Where would you like to see it going, and what more would you like to create with time to shine?
So that's a moving target.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every good business has its goals, it has its places it wants to be, but where do I want this thing to be is a moving target.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's really ever set in stone for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm never fully happy with where I'm at and where I want to be.
Yeah.
As far as time to shine, I don't feel like I want to get too much crazier with it.
Mm-hmm.
For me right now, it's see a need, fill a need kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like we have enough products to do what I've been trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
We have enough products that to detail completely a show truck, I have enough products to do exactly everything I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Are there some other things we could get? Sure.
Yeah.
Do I think there's enough market for it that I need to stock a shelf full of it? No. Do I feel there's other companies that make a product that's adequate to fill my need?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I feel like with the release of our interior scent this weekend, I feel like my product line is pretty complete. The only product I'm missing is a water spout remover.
Mm-hmm.
That's one product I would like to add.
And something that's compared to New Light.
For what it's worth, Lumi does fill that position for me.
Yeah.
Between the Lumi and the Time to Shine aluminum polish, I can fill the void that New Light puts in for us.
Yeah. You told me about the process and everything, what it would cost you, and that blows my mind. It costs.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Like to create a new product is ridiculously expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sell a lot of it to recoup your cost of what it takes to develop.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I guess it's kind of another question I want to ask you. Were you very nervous starting your own apparel or your own line of products? I mean,
to say I was scared, absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a ton of inventory in some other products, and I had to start over. And starting over is the scariest thing when you're. How long have I been gone, Keenan? 2 years?
Yeah.
2 years ago, pretty much this month.
Yep. Actually, yeah.
Or is it 3 years?
I think it's 2.
I was
2 years?
Yeah, because When I first started,
It
you were
was
still.
Dallas that year,
It was 2 because I was still here, but I left that year.
so it was
We
2.
were still using that stuff when I was here, and I left in August.
Okay, so 2 years ago is when I left,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally had a ton of inventory,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew we were going to have to head in a different direction, and everybody had kind of pushed me in the direction of doing my own thing already.
Mm-hmm.
Keenan was a strong advocate.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't want to inflate Keenan's head over there, but at the same time, like, I don't know if I would have
Mm-hmm.
had I not had my wife standing behind me and Keenan standing behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I had gotten comfortable with where I was at.
Do you think you would have stayed with the same people, possibly?
No.
That's a whole entire
That
different conversation. But
that writing was written on the wall before that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will.
Yeah.
For me, and we just needed to head it in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a very easy decision
Mm-hmm.
because I had become very comfortable and had made a lot of really good friendships that I knew were going to be gone after that, and we just decided to do our own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to say it was scary is probably the lightest way to put that.
Mm-hmm.
I literally invested my life savings in starting over,
Mm-hmm.
in the hopes and dreams that it would pick back up with where we were at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
How did Tammy feel about all that? Was she pretty on board? Or?
My wife has always been pretty supportive
Mm-hmm.
of all the decisions I make in the business side.
Yeah.
She handles all the financials, but at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
she supports me as she keeps me realistic.
Yeah, good.
But when we decided to develop our own products, I don't think she knew how expensive it was really going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So she knew there was going to be some expense in building new inventory,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think she understood like how much expense was going to be in new building new inventory. And me personally, I believe inventory is the number one killer of businesses. If you can't ship out relatively quick and be like Amazon and build inventory, you're in a rough spot really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why a lot of people were buying from me and not from somebody else is because I could ship out same day.
100% agree with that. You saved my butt, Ellen. Oh god, that was an awful day. I needed sandpaper so bad, and I called them because I was frustrated because I haven't got an email yet saying it's shipped. They're like, "Oh, it hadn't been processed yet." I was like, "Are you kidding me? I bought this 3 days ago." And I called you, and I was like, "Hey, I need some. Can you hit me up or whatever?" And I called Ellen, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll get it shipped out." And I got it before it even came. The other sandpaper came.
Really?
Yeah. I was
That's awesome.
Yes.
I love my sister to death,
Yeah.
and Katie is a nice addition to the office too now. Keenan's wife.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, they get stuff out super quick,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me feel good knowing that not a lot of polishers keep big inventory.
Mm-hmm.
So guys will order stuff on a Friday and they hope they have it by Tuesday so they can do a job on a Wednesday. And we try to accommodate that as best we can. It doesn't always work because sometimes a package gets lost in the USPS or UPS, and sometimes
Hopefully in October it doesn't change because they said shipping's going to change in October for USPS.
I know they are.
Yeah. So hopefully that doesn't change anything.
I'm dreading it.
Yeah.
But these last 2 years have been miserable anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So if it stays like it is now,
It'll be fine.
we'll be just fine.
Yeah.
So, but where do I want to be? I want to keep growing. We're expanding a building that we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be moving Ellen and Katie next door.
Yeah.
Because right now we have about $750,000, maybe $1 million in inventory.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be getting close to $1 million in inventory.
Yeah.
I'd like to build that close to $2 to $3 million in inventory so
Mhm.
that we can expand our sales. And sometimes stuff does go out of order for a little while.
Yeah.
We had buffs this year, the steel clinch rings in the center,
Mm-hmm.
the company that makes our buffs for us. Clinch rings went obsolete
Mhm.
for almost a month, and we ran out of orange, we ran out of yellow, we were running out of buffs to use in the shop, and that I don't ever let that happen.
Yeah.
So we were in rough shape real quick.
Yeah.
But we got it back on track, and as soon as we got back on track, I ordered an extra $150,000 worth of buffs, and now we're full stocked again.
Yeah.
So if it does slack up again,
Should be good.
we're stocked.
Yeah.
But the time to shine side, I think the products are pretty well set where I want to be. We want to keep expanding the t-shirt line and the apparel stuff.
Yeah.
But detailing products and stuff, I think we're pretty well set where we want to be.
Good.
Maybe see a couple new products over the next couple of years. But I'm not in any rush to get anything else out. I want to make sure the product's good before we release it. I've seen a lot of companies over the years just push a product out for the sake of getting a product out, and it wasn't always great. And I'd like to make sure ours are great before we let them out. But on the Evans detailing and polishing side, Keenan's been moving up the ranks and kind of filling my position and kind of allowing me to move into more of a CEO position and being able to polish part-time and be in the office part-time doing marketing and keeping our YouTube channel alive. And I want to keep expanding that. I want to keep growing this side. I want eventually for Keenan to take over my position and take over scheduling and move into the more shop manager role and not to have him running a grinder as much. I want him to be
Jack guy.
Yeah. The towel boy, jack guy, water boy, whatever you want. Keeping everybody hydrated, I don't care, whatever. But scheduling people and helping do marketing and helping do an outside sales. I'd like him to, he's very good at sales. I'd like to get him into the sales side so it can take some of the slack off of me. I don't ever foresee myself giving it up completely. I truly enjoy the polishing. So I'll continue doing that as long as my body will let me. But I'd like to get my kids involved somehow. Some way.
How's your international shipping? Is that working out pretty good?
You know, we've got a few distributors international. Australia, New Zealand, one in the Caribbean, 2 in Europe, and I think 3 or 4 in Canada. And it's been working out pretty good. International shipping's a struggle. My sister, she doesn't handle that stuff very often, so she's still trying to get used to dealing with all the proper paperwork and getting it over there, that kind of stuff. So it's a learning curve for us for sure. But yeah, we're getting there. We don't necessarily want a huge distribution channel. I don't need to be in every truck stop. I mean, it'd be okay if we were, but I don't need to be. I'm perfectly fine understanding that we're a high-end niche product. We're not selling. I mean, anybody can use our products, but we're not targeting everybody. Like, we're targeting the show truck market and the regular work truck market. Semis is where I live. I'm targeting that market because it's where I live. I don't need to branch off into UTVs, and if those guys learn that our products do work in that, awesome. I doubt I'm going to be sitting at a UTV show anytime soon promoting product. Our products work very well in the car scene and the lifted truck scene. I'll probably go to some lifted truck shows just because I have a truck. But at the end of the day, I'm not going just for marketing. I don't want to get so huge that we can't contain it either. But we all want to get bigger. I wouldn't mind hiring in a few more guys to help out. But that's where I want to be. I'd like to retire at 50. Retirement for me doesn't mean retirement for most people. Retirement for me is much like yourself. Like, I'll still polish sometimes. I just won't polish as hard as I do. I'll still work in the office. I just won't be in the office as much as I am. Like, I'd like to, as my kids start graduating, I want to be able to go to some of their college functions and
Sure.
be present for their weddings and not have to be answering phone calls the whole time I'm there,
Yeah,
you know? And that's my goal.
Mhm.
50. 11 more years.
Sure. It's good.
I'd probably be 55. Try to hold myself accountable at 50.
Good. Good.
That's the plan.
Mm-hmm. I guess my last question: what got you into the Louis Vuitton area? That's what I want to ask. 'Cause my wife's been texting me. He's like, "Are you kidding me? He's got Louis Vuitton seat belts," and I sent her a picture of some stuff you showed me in your truck, and yeah.
So for me, it was one of those things that like I grew up with nothing, and Louis Vuitton's one of those really expensive items that like I've always had a taste for really nice things, and I always thought Louis Vuitton stuff was really nice, and I was like, I could never afford any of it.
Yeah.
Now that I've busted my ass and gotten where I've gotten, like once in a while I splurge for myself, and that's my treat to myself when I meet one of my big goals. That's my treat to myself, is do something nice for myself, because I don't celebrate my wins very often. So once in a while I'll buy myself something nice, and it's like, I don't know, Louis Vuitton was always my go-to. Why? I have no idea. Because I mean, Gucci's nice too. It's not my taste. Louis Vuitton was more my taste, I guess. I don't know. Their white stuff just looked super clean to me, and I'm a big fan of white stuff, so it worked out well for me. But yeah, I guess I don't really have a real rhyme or reason for why Louis Vuitton, but
Spoil yourself.
yeah.
Busting my butt. I want to kind of give myself something.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
So my collection's getting bigger. Every time we stop and my wife sees the actual prices, she's like, no more. That's it.
Oh, God.
So I don't know how much longer the collection will keep growing, but
Good enough.
as much as I can hide, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully she doesn't listen to these to the end.
Yeah.
Hopefully she listens to the first 10 minutes of the podcast and she's like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
I'll listen to the end of this.
Tell everything secretive at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time and coming up and hanging out with us for the truck show.
Yeah, I appreciate your hospitality and everything coming up here.
Friday's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward for you to see
I'm definitely.
what 300 trucks in one spot looks like. And
This will be my legit first truck show. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you're going to spend it with us.
Yeah, me too. I am.
That'd be pretty neat. Get to pop your truck show cherry.
That's right.
At Waupun, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin.
Nothing but corn.
It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Corn and beans, soybeans, lots of soybeans.
Chicken houses and skyscrapers where I'm at.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I appreciate you stopping out, and I'm looking forward to editing this. This one's been fun.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
A little bit different lifestyle for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Firefighter that wants to polish for fun.
Yep, I can say I'm the first one on the show for that.
It's a true story. Awesome. Thanks again.
No problem, appreciate it.
See you on the next one.
That's right.